Good morning, everybody. Today is Sunday, January 9th, 2022. I'm hopping on here today to show you some progress that I have made with the projects that I wanted to do on a monthly basis. And I kept myself to 3 because even though parts of it are, say, a square a month or a section a month. So if I divvied them up for one a week, I still, out of the 3 projects, would have a week to spare that I could have thrown in another crochet along. But I think I'm going to leave that as my leeway, or if I do get 3 things done, then I can focus on small projects just to feel like I'm accomplishing something. Or I do have some UFOs hanging around that I could also work on to get those done. There is one that I would like to have done by April for a specific reason. So that might be the first thing that I pull out and focus on when I get the other 3 things done. So I would like to thank all my Yarny friends who are returning and who are new. Please like and subscribe and share if you feel like it. And let's get started. So the first project I will show is my Mosaic crochet Afghan. It is a pattern. It is called the Havana Afghan by Tina. Previous video I did put her name, and she has the video tutorials to show you, but you could also go to her Etsy shop and purchase the pattern. I showed all the yarns as well in the previous video. So for right now, in pattern 1, I will show the yarns that I'm using right now instead of just boring you with repeatedly showing things that I'm not even working on yet. So I used a 5mm hook. In my chaining row, I used the 5.5. I know it's not much of a difference, but I find myself having a tight tension, so the chaining row was a little tight as I get going. So I just went up half a hook size for the chain, went back to the 5mm. And this blanket is a multiple of 12 plus 3. And I did not do it as big as she is. I believe she did like a queen or something. So I did 183 chains, which is a multiple of 12, 15 times, and then added the 3. Now I decided to do Mary Maxim value, and this is the dark gray. This is going to be what I thought would be my only main color that I would use with each of the other colors. But I only have 2 balls of this, 2 skeins, I should say, at 474 yards. There's a good amount of space in there already. I do have different brands in dark gray, but worst case, by the time I get to the next section, I will have to decide if I want to do 2 grays, like section 1 will be this, section 2 I'll grab a different shade of gray, section 3 go back to this, and so on. I just haven't made up my mind. I would hate to get to, you know, there's 7 sections. I would hate to get to like section 5 and then not have enough yarn, but I'll see how it goes. And then the other color that I chose to start with is medium violet, and this is still attached. I was trying very hard to get to a certain section before the video, because then I could have fastened off, but I did not. So this is my first section, and so far the first pattern is pretty easy. So this is what the pattern looks like. And I did not take a tape measure and see how long it is. I just kept chaining by 12s. I mean, I shrunk to 5'7", and my arms are stretched all the way out, and this is the tension. So I just kept chaining, holding it out, and figured this was a good size blanket to cover up with. So I have 2.5 more rows. This is where I left off. So I have to finish this row and then 2 more, and that will be the first section. Or I should say the first pattern. And for each section you do the pattern 3 times. So I'll finish this row, 2 more, and then I have to do all this again 2 more times, and that's section 1. And then I'll see how much gray I have left after that to figure out if I think I'm going to have enough, or I may, if I want to stick with the dark gray, look in my yarn supply and see if I have something else to replace this when it's gone, or I'll just do a lighter gray. Simple pattern, so far so good. As long as you pay attention to where your drop doubles are, you pretty much know when to put your next drop double in the next color, and just keep going with your single crochets. I can do this while watching TV now that I've got the pattern down, and I'm liking it so far. I have not looked ahead to see if any of the other patterns are a pain. I'm just taking it one section at a time. So once that section gets done with the 2 repeats, then that's done for January, and I'll put it aside and wait until February. The next project I'm doing is a CAL, or a crochet along, with Crochet Creations by Christy. She decided to pick a pattern by Fiber Spider, which is called the Glorious Granny Square, and we will be doing a square a month, and except for the final round on my square, which is what I'll be using when I'm ready to attach them, my square for January is done. I used a 5.5 millimeter hook for this project, and I decided to use Red Heart Super Saver in the color Grape fizz for the middle of my squares. And this is how much I have left after one square. And my squares with this and my secondary color, which will be different shades of blue. I did have to place an order, but this one is called Slate. So I have to go back and find out what Christy wants the finished Afghan to be in size, but it's probably going to be at least 4 squares across, and then I don't know how many down, but I want to make sure I follow the guidelines of what the size has to be. So, thought process. I have 3 skeins of these, so that would be my middle. The last row, I decided to go around in blues that I found in here. Okay, great. After completing the first square, I'm like, wow, that was like half a skein. I only have 3. That's like 6 squares. That's not going to be enough. So I need to go through my ombres and variegated and find something similar, which is okay because I'll alternate those squares. It's probably going to be at least 4 by 4, if not longer, but I'll alternate. So I want it to be different enough that you're going to see the difference, because the only other way you're going to know that I'm not showing you the same square is the outer blue. And like I said, I did place an order through Joann's. They had the big twist for $1.99. You know, it's a good price, so I may have thrown in the blues that I needed. I want to join with a solid purple, and this is just purple. So around the squares, I'm going to do either a single or a half double. I haven't made up my mind. I really like the half double, so I might do that. And then when I'm ready to attach, I'll use this. I ordered a couple more and I had 2. So I have 4 skeins of this, so that should be plenty for that. And of course, one of the blues that I ordered, you know, they end up sending you an email a day or so later saying, oh, we're sorry, we're out of that color. So I might be shopping my own stash which I did try to do in my defense. But I wanted the blues that are in that purple fizz or whatever it was. So this is my first square. I have to weave in my ends, or actually when I put the final row of purple, I'll go over my tails. But so yeah, this is by Fiber Spider, the Glorious Granny Square, which on the back it's flush, but then on this side, and I hope you can see that, you have the lines. And but when I put this down for a day or so, because the next project that I show you also uses drop stitches 2 rows below, but this one is a double triple, so you have to wrap your hook 3 times, so you end up with 4 loops on your hook. And I forgot, and I went around a whole section and a half, and I'm like, wait a minute, something doesn't seem right. And then when I went back, I'm like, oh, duh. So I had to rip it out. But it's okay. So there's my variegated. This is the slate blue. And then I will go around with the solid purple. I was debating, go figure, to do a second row of the blue and then the purple. I'm thinking I'll have enough because I want the middle to, like, I'm picturing all the squares together and I really want it to pop. So will it pop with just one row of the different blue? I might attach the blue again, do a second round, see how that looks. I think the little bit thicker will be better. I should have thought of this before I fastened off, but not a big deal. And then I'll do the round of purple, and then this one would officially be done for January. But again, mine right now as it sits is 12 by 12. So I'll put another row of the slate half double purple and I'll measure it, and then I'll know where I'm at. And in saying that, I have another variegated that has different purples in it, like right off the bat, but it's from Michael's. I'm drawing a blank right now, but it was their older stuff, so it's more rough. And this red heart is soft, which, you know, I'll end up washing the blanket anyways. But if I can't find anything else, I might have to use that rougher purple. I don't know. I'll let you know what I decide in the next video. So then the last project for the month that I am doing on a monthly basis, this will be my nemesis, I swear. So I decided to do the Hershner's Treasure of Crochet Afghans 2022 calendar. So I have the monthly calendar on my desk. I had a choice between the one that everyone else is doing, the Annie's, and then I got this one. So this is January, the Alpine Afghan, you know, and then it's just the regular. It just has a little tidbit over here and a picture of the blanket. So I decided to use colors that might interest some people for each month, so that as I get to November, December, you know, if things go well, I will have an Afghan per month and can use them maybe towards Christmas. So you use a 4-weight yarn, 3 different colors, 6mm hook. Is that what I used? God. No, I used a 5mm hook. And why did I use a 5mm hook? Because that's what the yarn calls for. Okay, so maybe that's why this isn't as wide as I thought it should be, because I went down a hook size. But whatever. So the Alpine Stitch. I never did it. I should know better than to try to attempt starting a new project when I'm tired or when I get out of work at 11, because Yeah. So I did follow how many stitches they wanted you to chain, which was 112, and then you'll have 111 from each row on. So I decided to use Big Twist in the colors teal, varsity orange, and a mill end of white. Those are my three colors. Teal being my main color that I need the most of. Orange is the next color, and then white. So I have 4 of the teals, so I made sure I had the yardage. We're all good. The first, after the chain, the first 3 rows, not a problem. When I hit the 4th row, I was kind of unsure myself, so I watched a couple videos. I figured I had it down, not a big deal. So last night, well, yesterday, watching doubleheader of football, I'm like, yes, I'm going to get this one section, the teal section, done before my video tomorrow. Have the next color attached, good visual. I'm like, why is this kind of curling in? I wanted to curl like a tube. And I'm like, well, I had a row and a half left, and I would have been able to attach the orange. So I'm like, let me see. I'm assuming the pattern's going to be the same throughout the whole blanket. I pick up the book and I look, and I was like, are you flipping kidding me? Oh, I was doing it wrong. Go figure, in Jonna fashion. So I had to rip out 18 rows, basically. Get myself back to where I knew I had not messed up, which was row 3. Go back to row 4. So at that point, I got myself to where I was ready to start row 4. And then I just put it down till this morning. And I've shared, I'll take a notebook and I will write the steps down and check them off. Because once you do row 6, that rows 3 through 6 are your repeats for 12 rows, and then you'll add the new color. But I had to rip all that out and start over. So my yarn is still attached. This is what it looks like today, and I just finished row 4 and I'm starting row 5. But this is the Alpine Stitch. You see how they alternate the front posts? And this is just a regular front post, 2 rows below, alternating with single crochets. The first time I did it, I was lining them up. Like, instead of it staggering, I had them completely lined up like little soldiers, and that was wrong. So yeah, I will be working on this during a triple header of football today to try to get this back to where I was, which was ready to add the orange. And I didn't measure this either, but you know, not very wide. I don't know how much more length I would have got if I would have used the 6mm, and it probably would have had more play. I'm not ripping this out and starting over, but next time, now that I got the hang of it, it's fine. If I do this again later in the year, maybe for a baby blanket stash or something, I will use the bigger hook for sure. Ay, ay, ay. I need more coffee. But yeah, there she is, the Alpine, alternating front post with single crochets. Now that I have it, it's okay. And the back side is flat. So that is where I'm at with my monthly projects, which is 3. I think it's plenty. And again, I have one particular UFO that has been sitting since probably October that I need it done by April, so I'll get that out and work on it. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And like and subscribe and share, do all the fun things, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.